Welcome to Pedersen and Partners Quick Fireside Chat with the world's leading authorities in marketing and the media. Today, I'm speaking to Tony Harradine, who is the CEO of Asia Pacific for Omnicom Media Group. Tony, thank you for joining me today.
Thank you, Jean-Michel.
So, to go straight into it, I'd really like to know what you thought about our article on in-housing. What was your views from an agency point of view?
Yeah, look, it was a very interesting article. I'd say on the outset, though, that in-housing isn't a trend, it's a movement that is inevitable, largely due to the empowerment that marketing technology has given clients, as well as obviously the tighter regulatory control around client first-party data. But at Omnicom, we place the client's needs right at the heart of everything that we do. And ultimately, it's our job to help them understand the benefits as well as the limitations of in-housing. So, the undertaking is far from being one size fits all. I mean, that's obvious to say, but clients to different shapes and sizes, different geographies, they sit across very different data ecosystems, based on their industry sector. Obviously, banking, finance, the airline industry, telecommunications have a vast trove of big data, but then there's other clients that necessarily don't have so much data, if any at all. And clients also work with varying operating models as well. Some are highly centralized, others are somewhat more state-driven, if you will, fragmented in their approach. So it's the role of the agency to grasp all of these aspects, consult, and then ultimately assist the client in determining the right model. Hence, our value proposition has to be measured not by the number of services that we provide, but rather the impact that we make on the areas of the business that we do support. And quite frankly, if we're not making that impact, then we don't deserve to be, their partner. The questions that should be asked are based on a client's current ecosystem. What functions and capabilities should they in-house and why? To what extent should they in-house? Typically, we would look at more of a hybrid solution. And to that end, despite in-housing, how can they still leverage the expertise, insights, and where relevant, our scale, to support them? So let's take one example. If you're a client of a certain scale and you have a trove of first-party data, for compliance and data ownership reasons, it can make sense to have direct ownership over your MarTech contracts. Having said that, you should still leverage an agency partner to drive your technology for a number of reasons, such as access to talent, so talent on tap, as it were. We obviously have a deep and wide, varied cross-section of talent to provide to clients still. It obviously helps with the ability to absorb talent turnover rates. It also helps clients to remain agile and flexible in their talent, the ability to turn up and turn down talent requirements on demand, if you will. Certainly rings true to the current pandemic situation. That's obviously an extreme case whereby we've seen talent requirements be somewhat more volatile. And of course, there's the training and development of staff in these highly skilled areas, allowing them to remain at the very forefront of this practice or their practice that we would also bring. Beyond the talent side, managing financial aspects associated with areas of risk, such as overspend, that can occasionally happen on these buying platforms, but I think the big thing too is there's a lot that happens behind the scenes with the large global tech players, such as Google and Facebook. Agencies are continually, lobbying issues around brand safety and viewability, or, just generally areas around fair practice. There's a lot of innovation and new builds on platforms such as DV360, which our team, take some credit in driving. So there's a lot that's happening that agencies, push, whether that's visible to a client or not. Ensuring access to alphas and betas. It all comes with long-standing relationships from top to bottom within these global organizations, pushed along occasionally by the scale, that we also have. Now, much of what I've just covered is really within the area of digital, data, and addressable spend. More often than not, it's programmatic. It appears to be the quickest area to be identified as the one area to be in-housed. And it's often wrongly assumed that this is the most democratized area of media buying, i.e. anybody can log into a platform and on an impression, so equal opportunity to all. But this isn't really the case. I mean, platform rates vary by holding group and by client. That comes with a lot of experience in negotiating these elements. Understanding in the ways by which agencies reduce the tech tax to maximize work in media is another area that's unique to agency holding groups and considered in many respects to be specific IP to them. The ability to maximize brand safety in a cost-effective way is another example, through curated private marketplaces, and amongst another multitude of other techniques and capabilities that we would have to do. It takes a great deal of time and effort to set up. And then beyond the IP and workload outlined, if this area becomes completely ostracized from the rest of the client's media planning and buying capability, you're in danger of setting up a highly fragmented communications framework. So, you look at programmatic, traditionally was used around open exchange buying to drive performance campaigns. I mean, it's now obviously evolved to include curated inventory and ecosystems that can drive a multitude of different objectives, including branding, for example. So I guess to conclude, very few, if any, marketers, even those who've embraced in-housing, have elected to work with zero agencies. And we believe that clients do appreciate the outside perspective and specialist expertise that agencies bring. So it boils down to what clients are looking to get out of the in-housing exercise. And that we're here to help our clients advance and accelerate their business outcomes if they choose to do so.
That's fantastic. Thanks for that. Thank you, Tony.
Pleasure.